Yo, what is good, YouTube? What's up, PlayStation Nation? Even though I shouldn't be addressing the PlayStation Nation in this show, but wanted to bring something back that I was doing on my channel like a few years ago, man. And what a perfect time to do it when it comes to my thoughts on Loki. So on this show right here, I'm just going to keep it short and simple because I'm not going to be too long with it. But I'm going to give my thoughts and opinions, the good, the bad, the ugly, when it comes to Loki. Loki pretty much meshed in a lot of stuff that I love about Marvel Comics, but they did it in a very slick way. If a lot of people probably caught on to the most prominent one, but there's a lot of other stuff that I want to highlight when it comes to Loki, which what makes it a pretty good show. You know what I mean? Yo, Sentry, what's good, man? Shout out to my man Sentry, man. You know what I mean? Sentry was here day one when it came to what from comics to movies podcast. Shout out to my man Sentry, man. Yo, G on the Don, what's up, man? Yo, Big Mike, what's good? Yo, Jamal, what is up? Yo, Philip, what's good, bro? Welcome back. Appreciate you joining the ranks of Soldier First Class, man. Yo, Chuck, what is up, man? PlayStation 5, what's good, man? So yeah, this is something that I haven't done in a while because the way how I normally would do it, I like to paint a picture for everyone so they can follow along on what I'm saying. Because the way how I had from comics to movies set up is I also had like the comic strips of what I'm talking about, which took a long time for me to prepare because there's a lot of comics that I dive into and I try to, screenshot the stuff that what I'm saying or where I'm trying to reference from. So that's why, I kind of fell back from doing from comics to movies because it's a lot of research, there's a lot of reading as well, but it's also a lot of, taking the screen. The way how I want to do it and way how I plan to do it, it takes a lot of work. But this is just like a precursor to this show coming back because there's a lot of stuff that I want to talk about from Marvel in general that's going down. You know what I mean? Like Black Widow, I might do one for that. I might go back and do one for Scarlet Witch and all that stuff. And give people the comic side of things as well. Other than thus the movies, because that's the main point of the show that I had is not just for you referencing just movies, because a lot of people I know when I see them talking about like comic book characters, all they doing is referencing movies because obviously they didn't read the comics. But this show was going to be like a source where no, this is where the original source is coming from. It's coming from this comic, from this volume. You know what I mean? Here's the page, and I wanted to showcase that. That's why the show is called From Comics to Movies, because the movies definitely change a lot when it comes to the continuity of a lot of these characters, the originality of a lot of these characters, so yeah, man, so that was the main cusp of like this podcast. But here I'm gonna give my thoughts on Loki because after work I finished up the last episode, and I was intrigued, man. I was intrigued. You gotta crack open the Marvel archives. Yeah, yo, I read Marvel comics like every week, yo. Real talk. Marvel Unlimited, like I have it on my phone. I just be reading it every week. There's a new comic that they add in there, and I just read it every week. But Loki in general, my overall thoughts on Loki. On Disney Plus, I thought it was a really good show. There's a lot of things that they can implement going into the future of like the MCU, which I felt like this show was cleverly done so they can alleviate a lot of issues or they can fix a lot of things that they did in the previous phases or whatnot. You know what I mean? So I felt like this show right here was purposeful and it was clever as far as what they did, where they can, the time rips is changing a little bit. Well, not a little bit, well, a lot. And we can do some work in other iterations of movies and stuff like that. You know what I mean? or you know, they have that possibility of characters can come back. You know what I mean? Because overall, we're in a different time loop or time branch or what they call it. So if you guys haven't watched Loki yet, I implore you guys not to watch this stream. You know what I mean? Just turn it off. I did put spoilers in the title. Yo, it's me, baby. What's up? Appreciate you coming through. I did put spoilers in the title so people can know. But we're gonna get down to the nitty gritty of things, man. Okay, we're gonna get down to the nitty gritty, yo. So overall, Loki's always been a character I enjoy because if you guys know me, I'm a huge Thor fanboy. Thor is one of my favorite Marvel characters, probably my second favorite next to Spider-Man. And yeah, like, so already through like osmosis, I already was enriched within Loki's kind of, you know, lore and stuff like that. Just reading a lot of Thor stuff. But overall, Loki have had his own little series. He had his own little storylines and stuff like that. And he's just a very intriguing character in the general sense of things. You know what I mean? He definitely is one of those characters that can cause a muck within the Marvel superheroes. And he's also one of those characters that is also being used to help the Marvel superheroes in a lot of ways in comics. So Loki was always that complex character. Like, yeah, this dude is pretty evil. He's pretty bad. But there's times where, you know, we need his craft. We need his craft to fix a lot of stuff. We need his knowledge, or we need his daughter. Even like in Thor, freaking Ragnarok, they changed the whole storyline of Hela. This is one thing why I think this podcast is kind of needed, because there's a lot of people that's probably walking around thinking like Hela is the sister of like Thor and and Loki. You know what I mean? But you know, I mean, Loki is a huge vital part to you know, Marvel's conception. You know, not conception, but a huge vital part to Marvel in itself. Can they fix Thor Dark World now? Thor Dark World wasn't a bad movie. A lot of people don't like that movie, but as somebody that's a Thor fanatic, they hit a lot of things on the nose right there. You know what I mean? It wasn't the funniest of Marvel movies. It didn't have the silliness like that per se. Every little, you know, go around like Ragnarok that people love. But when it comes to continuity, it's Thor 1 and Thor 2 is very close. Thor Ragnarok is out there. I don't know what the fuck they was doing with that, but you see a lot of mixtures in there. Yeah, there's a lot of Easter eggs in this series for sure. One of the biggest Easter eggs I want to cover is, yeah, you guys see the screenshot, you see the thumbnail, you see the picture of the video where you see Kang the Conqueror. That's where I know a lot of people's gonna go, but the direction I want to go is dealing with like Fantastic Four stuff mostly, which Kang is like Fantastic Four in the general scheme of things. But we're gonna get the chisel, and we're gonna chop things down a little bit to show you what I'm talking about. I wish I had the comic strips right in front of me so I could show you, but this was like something that I was thinking about. I was like, you know what, let me do this, because I said I was gonna bring this show back, but I haven't done it in a while. Yo, Veja, what's up, man? What is up? Yeah, so season 2 is also confirmed, which is cool. And yeah, I'm very interested in how they're gonna deal with Loki. So what started this thing off here is that when the Avengers went back in time, when it came to Endgame, so they can bring everyone back, you know, they kind of messed up trying to get the Tesseract in the time where Loki tried to invade Earth, and they messed up, and Loki ended up getting a Tesseract, and he ended up teleporting into a different time or whatever, a different place or whatnot. And the TVA essentially called him up and had him arrested or whatnot. So within that time of the TVA, first of all, I was like, yo, them introducing the TVA and all that stuff, I was like, okay, so they going a little bit cosmic, but then they're using the time a lot you can already tell that they was using this series to rewrite stuff or to fix things or to set a new path for things. You from episode 1, we already know the deal. Even from Endgame, I'm pretty sure everybody know the deal, because in Endgame, you know, the what you call the ancient one, she kind of explained the whole time variance and the time branches. If this messes up here, this can cause a new time, and she want to protect the time branch and all that stuff. She already kind of mentioned that already. You know what I mean? So we already know with this show here and how it led up. There was definitely going to fix. There was either going to fix, write anew, or to set a new path for a lot of stuff when it comes to the continuity of the MCU. Right? We're gonna talk about some comic book stuff in a little bit, but I'm just talking MCU stuff as far as the setup with Loki. Yo, Fox and around, what's up, man? What's good? He say, is this supposed to be Nathaniel Richards versions of? Well, we're gonna talk about that, Gian Don, because I'm going to give you my goods, my bads, and my uglies when it comes to this show. Just give me a second. Let me paint the picture for you guys so I can simplify a lot of things for a lot of people that probably didn't read the comic or don't give a fuck about. I'm pretty sure a lot of people ain't give a fuck about no Fantastic Four. A lot of people probably just Googling right now. But this shit is not going to be Google. Trust me. You're going to hear stuff that's comic book sourced. That's off of the tip of the head. So yeah, so that's one thing I already liked already when it came to the show. It's like, okay, they can fix a lot of things. So yeah, when it comes to these MCU movies, like I'm a comic book purist, you know what I mean? So I like to, especially when it comes to characters that I like the fact that you take the original source and you can deviate a little bit from it, or you can remaster it per se, but don't freaking just change the whole thing overall. You know what I mean? So this is one thing I was so hyped about with Loki, because I was like, yo, there's maybe a lot of things they can just rewrite or they can just fix with this show, especially if they're dealing with time and different time branches and all that stuff. So I'm just like, yeah, I'm excited for the show. So yeah, the show already started off with a bang. I think episode 2, where they introduce Sylvie, I think that was cool as well, even though they kind of changed her origin story. Like they had her as a part of Loki, but they kind of made it seem like she's just a different variant of Loki, where Sylvie is pretty much something that, not something, but is a person that Loki pretty much created. You know what I mean? Which at the end of the day, I don't really mind that, because Sylvie in the comics, she became like a beast. You know what I mean? In the comics, where she can pretty much match up with a lot of like sorcerers and stuff like that. But in this show, they didn't really show her as like super powerful. They just show that she has some intent. She can enchant people and play with their minds and stuff like that. But she can do much more. But her origin concept of what, you know, they're making here in this show, they deviated a lot from the original. You know what I mean? Because even when it comes to like New Asgard and stuff like that, they changed that with Endgame. They didn't change the concept of why New Asgard was made, but well, they kind of did as well. But we're not going to deviate to Asgard. But to talk about Sylvie's like origin, you kind of got to talk about New Asgard and Loki creating her and all that stuff. But here, just wanted to paint a picture that they changed her origin, which I didn't mind at all, which is kind of cool. It made sense within the storyline, because even when it came to like episode 4, or was it 4 or 5, where they start showing the different type of variants of Lokis, variations of Lokis, it was like, okay, I can see what you're doing with Sylvie here, and I can see what you're going on with the overall grand scheme of things. That, you know, there's different multiple universes and different, you know, iterations of characters and stuff like that. Which they did kind of did a nice little cameo, nice little cool cameo of the old school Loki. You know what I mean? The old school Loki with the original colors. I was like, oh damn, they throwing it back out here, boy. They throwing it back. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Galactus gonna be there as well. But I'm gonna focus on Kang, and I'm gonna talk about a few things. So, all right. So overall, I did like the show. I thought it was a cool show. I'm excited for part 2. And like I said, I do like the fact that they are setting up a lot of they're setting up a lot for the upcoming phase of the MCU. where they can rewrite. Once again, they can fix, or they can just, change, they can just start anew when it comes to this, the origin of some characters, or bring some characters back. I don't know. You know what I mean? They have a lot to play with now that time is in a flux, you know what I mean? Where different branches are being created, where this character might be alive, or this character don't know this character, or this character might be in this time period that is in a different multiverse, but now he's in this universe. And you know what I mean? They can do so much, which we already know they're setting that up here with this show. So the setup, the premise of the show, I love that fact. The one thing that kind of pissed me off about the show, though, we're going to get into Fantastic Four. Anybody that knows me, I'm a huge Fantastic Four nut. I feel like if you are a fan of Marvel Comics and you haven't read like Fantastic Four, or know like the origin of Fantastic Four, or just know storylines of Fantastic Four, I feel like that's a huge like mistake on your part. I don't want to come off rude, you know what I mean? But I feel like, how can you be Marvel? Like, if you think about Marvel, it's like you got to think about the Fantastic Four. This is like the first family of the of Marvel, you know what I mean? Where a lot of things came, a lot of enemies we know, a lot of big time enemies we know came from like Fantastic Four stories. And in my personal opinion, they have some of the best storylines. They have some of the best villains. They introduce a lot of some of the best concepts in Marvel. So, you know what I mean? As a huge Fantastic Four fan, when I saw what they kind of did with the, what do you call it? The one who remains? Is that what they call it? Who they call him again? They call it for who remains, the one who remains. Which, can go by a lot of names. You know what I mean? My bad. I gotta use Google now. Yeah, the one who remains. Yeah. See, I knew I had it right. It felt like I said it wrong. It felt like I said it wrong. That's why I was like, let me see what it was again. You know what I mean? So I felt like, as a Fantastic Four fan, I felt kind of slighted in a way when they was doing the explanation of the one who remains, right? Because what they did here is that they took a concept that was so monumental to me when it comes to just like Marvel Comics. Because if you don't know, all right, so Reed Richards is a very pivotal character in Marvel, right? And Reed himself had like a council of Reeds, right? I'm pretty sure everybody have heard that concept before, the council of Reeds. What they pretty much did with the one who remains storyline here in this show, they took the council of Reeds storyline and they meshed it into that to try to do this kind of origin for, Kang, which we're going to talk about his setup soon, right? But what I disliked about that is you took such a monumental part and concept of a character, with Reed Richards, that I feel like now when it comes to like you doing Fantastic Four stuff, that's such a pivotal thing that's going to be taken out of the equation now of like story setups, right? Because they could have did a multi-universal, fight and all that stuff with Fantastic Four, movie tie-ins, you know what I mean? Because they just got the rights to Fantastic Four, right? Now they can just do Fantastic Four movies and all that stuff. And the fact that, you know what I mean, they kind of used the Council of Reeds and tried to mold it into something different. I was just like, nah, man, I'm not really feeling that right. That right there kind of threw me for a loop, because the whole time I'm listening to it, I was like, wait, y'all just took the Council of Reeds and tried to make it into this origin thing, yo? Because the Council of Reeds is pretty badass, right? So the whole concept is that Reed Richards, being the smart guy that he is, the guy that's always planning, the guy that's always trying to prevent certain disasters and all that stuff, he took the concept, especially when it came to like the Infinity Gauntlet, right? He came up with a concept. Well, I think it was like 3 or 4 or 5 of them, where they was like, you know what? let's try and find other Reeds in different dimensions, you know, in different universes, and have a meetup where we can prevent all these things like Galactus. We can prevent things like Thanos and the Infinity Gauntlet and all that stuff. We can prevent all that stuff. Where I think not all of them, but certain amount of them had the Infinity Gauntlet. So I know our universe, like 616, I know that Reed had the Infinity Gauntlet. But the concept was try to prevent a lot of things that was, you know, going to come to the Earth, where, you know, stuff like Galactus, you know what I mean, him trying to destroy the Earth. You have a whole bunch of these minds, the smartest brain in the world, or in the universe, not universe, but in their Earth, right? And they come together to try to prevent a lot of these catastrophes and stuff like that, right? And that's what it was pretty much kind of saying in Loki, where, you know, they had the guy, which they didn't give him an origin name, which is kind of smart, because that plays with a lot of people that, you know, read the comments like, yo, give us the name, you bastard, you know what I mean? They just say the one who remains, which, you know, we're going to go into that, right? Let's hold on, right? So as there was further explained, I was like, damn, you taking the Council of Reeds concept and implementing it in this, where I'm just, in my mind, what was happening is that I'm thinking like, damn, so what they gonna do with like Fantastic Four movies? Because, you know what I mean, that's a huge concept to Fantastic Four. You know what I mean? That led up to a lot of things like, you know, Secret Wars, you know, with Doom, with God Emperor Doom. You know, that led up to stuff with Valeria Reed's, you know, their daughter, where she ended up living in the Council of Reed sector area and all that stuff. Doom ended up taking over that for a little bit as well. So, you know what I mean? My mind was just going crazy. It's like, damn, yo, what's going to happen with that? Because I feel like that would have been a good ass movie, right? Like, say you have a Fantastic Four movie already. You have another Fantastic Four. The third one is dealing with, or the second one is dealing with the Council of Reeds and the multi-universal, you know, worlds and all that stuff. And even with that, you can bring back characters from different universes. You know what I mean? You might introduce like a Miles Morales, because that's what kind of happened when they collided with the incursion and all that stuff, where freaking the Ultimate Universe and 616, you know what I mean? Certain characters from the Ultimate Universe is over here in 616 now, like Miles. That's when he came over here with the Secret Wars and all that stuff with Doom, God Emperor Doom and all that. You know what I mean? You can do so much, and I would love to see that in like a movie, you know, setting. But you kind of wash all that up in like a 20-minute segment in a TV show. You know what I mean? That's just my mind of how I was thinking. But overall, I like the setup, you know, for the certain character we're going to talk about soon. But at the end of the day, I was kind of disappointed that, you know, the overall arc and things of like the lead up of Fantastic Four and their storylines, like, yo, this is one pivotal one. You know what I mean? You kind of took that away, in my opinion, man. But yeah, the Counselor Reeds are pretty badass. That's a badass council right there, the smartest minds in the world. And it just know it went bad. Yeah, one of these days I should probably break that down too. The Council of Reeds, that would be a fun stream, you know, because some people know Reed Richards, but they don't know Reed Richards. You know what I mean? It's like people know Tony Stark, but they don't know Tony Stark. You know what I mean? So that would be cool to like see people's comments on their pick their brain a little bit of what they think of Reed, and now after the fact break it down what they think of Reed now. Even though I think he's still a badass character, he's still dope, one of my favorites. But it was very interesting to read when you see all these different type of variations of Reed, and all of them have their own goals as well. Not all of them did, but some of them was a little bit wonky. But talking about variations of Reed Richards, we have, you know, my man, who said it in the chat earlier? Let me scroll up here. You got my man Gian Dong. You know what I mean? When it came to, you know, Kang, everybody talking about Kang. He's asking which version of Kang they're using. Because, yeah, Kang definitely had a lot of versions, you know, within Marvel. But the main one is the Nathaniel Richards, you know, Immortus, right? And they kind of to say like if is this supposed to be, they kind of telling you that this is not. You know what I mean? Even though they didn't give the name of the dude, right? The one who remains, even though they didn't give the name, is still, it's not that set up for that version of Kang, which I'm not upset by, because if you're looking at the whole conception of what they're doing here with Loki, it could be many versions, right? Because that's what he's saying. Is like, yo, we don't know which version of myself is going to be coming, but I know it's going to cause wreck. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So they can play around with whatever version. I know a lot of people's going to think of one version, but at the end of the day, Kang is pretty much like a alternate version of Reed Richards, but in a future, in a long ass time. Like, I mean, I'm talking about future. He's super out there, and he's pretty much a badass, you know what I mean, at the end of the day, because you have somebody that's as smart as Reed Richards. You have somebody, yeah, I mean, yeah, you have the cloak and all that stuff, but that don't really mean anything, you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, well, it is MCU. Like, you can have the likenesses, but is it that character, right? At the end of the day, the setup for who Immortus is and who is Nathaniel Richards is not there anymore. You know what I mean? But if you want to say if they're taking the likelihood or the likeness of that character, then I'll agree with you. But as far as saying it is him, then I don't know. You know what I mean? But yeah, Kang is pretty much a badass character. You know what I mean? He has the mind of Reed Richards. Like, if you think of like a smart character, he's pretty much a smart brain, you know, smart dude. Definitely playing with time. He's old as hell, so he's very knowledgeable. Experience is there as well. Kang is definitely a character where I can see, because I remember we was talking about this in the last From Comics to Movies podcast, when we was talking about who's the setup for the next MCU villain. I know a lot of people were saying Kang as well, that they would like to see that. I think Chuck definitely was one of them that said Kang as well. And yeah, he's definitely one of those characters that can fuck a lot of shit up. You know what I mean? But this is how I feel like how they're gonna play out with it. I think they're hinting they're gonna do it like Thanos, right? You know, with Thanos, there was a lot of hints towards him, where, you know, they was dealing with the Infinity Stones and all these different little relics and all that stuff. And if you know about Infinity Stones, he was like, oh, Thanos, can Thanos be the villain? Can they introduce, you know, you have that mindset, oh, can they introduce this? Can they introduce that? Even though they already playing along with Kang here, but the setup is kind of the same, you know what I mean? And I don't think he's gonna be introduced right away, boom, in like this movie. But, you know, other movies within the phase, he probably might be in the end scene or something, like how they did with Thanos, like he was in the end scene or a certain scene in the movie, you know what I mean? And then, you know, other movies he's gonna be fully introduced. But I don't think he's gonna be like the only main villain, right? I think he's gonna be one of the most. He's gonna be a vital part to villains when it comes to the next phase. But I do feel like Dormammu, we're gonna see a return of Dormammu, because the fact now that we're dealing with different time branches, and how Loki kind of ended, where Morbius and that agent didn't know who Loki was. That just tells you that, yo, this is a different time. This is a different time branch here that they're in. Something was in a kerfuffle here when it comes to this branch, and a lot of things have probably resetted. You know what I mean? Where now the fact that a character like Morbius, you know, one of the agents of the TVA, right? He doesn't even know who Loki is. You get what I'm saying? So now I feel, and now they're already playing. You already see all these branches of different, you know, time periods and all that stuff. And we already got a dose. We already got a taste of Dormammu when it came to his universe. You know, that with Doctor Strange. I feel like Dormammu might be like that end villain. You know what I mean? Kang is gonna be a main villain, but I feel like Dormammu might be that end villain. He's much scarier than Kang anyway. But yeah, I like the setup of where they're going when it comes to the movie part of things. There's just certain little implementations here and there I personally wouldn't do, because I would have used that for like other movies or probably other TV show. You know what I mean? But overall, they can with me. I'm looking at it from a optimistic point of view. They can fix a lot of things that happened in the previous phases of the MCU. You know what I mean? In my opinion. And if contracts is written and everybody is happy, certain characters can also be brought back. I'm not going to name who, I'm not going to say who, but other characters can be brought back. So they have that pipeline ready. If that scenario happens where, you know, contracts are renewed and stuff like that, they can be like, oh, we did this in Loki. Oh, we did this in Endgame. We can bring these characters, you know what I mean, back. Is Kang a descendant of Richard? No, Kang is not a descendant of Richard. He is a different variation of Reed Richards. You know what I mean? Just so it's the same thing as like the multi-universe. So you have different universes within the whole Marvel universe, which they kind of alluded to in a lot of the movies. But in Loki, they alluded that a lot in that last episode as well. And the origin of Kang is that he's like a different variation of Reed Richards, and he is like a dude that's set in a distant future. Like he's a different variation of Reed Richards, but in a different future, where his name is Nathaniel Richards, but he's so old and he's so wise, and they call it immortal. You have other names like Immortus. You have he goes by a lot of fucking names, if I can just remember on them. But he goes by a lot of names. If you look up Kang, you will see. But the thing is that, yeah, he's not a descendant of Richard. He's just a different variation, in a different world, different universe. But he did play a big integral part in the 616 universe, which is what the Marvel universe we know in comics, and I think in the movies they kind of alluded to 616 in Far From Home and Spider-Man. That's the first time they ever like mentioned universes, names and stuff like that. But that was a whole bullshit story. But you know, I don't know if you want to take that as, you know, continuity within, you know, the MCU. But yeah, I enjoy the Marvel universe a lot. I enjoy the Marvel universe. A lot of people hate on it though. Yeah, like the thing is with me, like I enjoy the movies for what they are. But when it just comes to certain characters that I like, I just don't like certain changes. Like I feel like you don't have to deviate so far away from the original concept or source. You know what I mean? And a lot of them do that. Like I wanted to save this for another stream. Like what you call Black Widow. Black Widow. They changed a lot of things about Black Widow. When it comes to Taskmaster. They changed that origin entirely. When it comes to Natasha and what's his name, Alexei, the red what you call it, the Crimson Red or Red Crimson, they changed that origin story as well. And you know, there's that one, it kind of plays in with Alexei and Natasha, but the Taskmaster one, I couldn't get down with that. I ain't gonna say it here because I'm not talking about Black Widow yet, but I couldn't get down with that, man. I couldn't get down with that at all. And it's kind of similar to me with some of the stuff in Loki. That I feel like Loki is a great movie, not movie, but series. Like the setups was great, but there's certain things I would like. I would do this in a different. No Lady Death in Infinity War or Endgame. Yeah. Like I would have loved to see Lady Death within there, but in this day and age, they would have definitely changed the reasons of why Thanos collected all of the Infinity Stones. You know what I mean? Thanos is a little whip. You know what I mean? He was trying his hardest to, you know what I mean, to knock this joint down. Well, not knock it down, but to be with Lady Death. But it wasn't in the cards. until he turned into Infinity. He was like, yo, hold up. This man is more powerful than the actual concept of the universe? What the fuck? They did tease Adam Warlock though in Guardians of the Galaxy. They did tease him. But yeah, I overall feel like they're going in a good direction in phase 3. I gotta look over what movies they're doing again in phase. Let me look it up real quick. And let me see if I can imply any things. Well, not phase 3, phase 4. My bad. Let me look it up real quick. Okay, so they have Eternals. That's gonna be a good one. That is gonna be a good one. Oh yeah, so Shang-Chi is coming as well, which they kind of killed that. Shang-Chi is gonna be good, but they kind of messed that up in with Iron Man. They kind of messed that up in Iron Man 1 and 3. The Doctor Strange one. This is where I feel that we're gonna see Kang for sure. Like not in like the enemy in the movie, but we're gonna see like a cameo. Oh, they got a what if? Oh, this is gonna be a Disney series. So they're already playing around with it. Loki, Hawkeye, anybody trying to see? Oh, Hawkeye's gonna have his own joint. I don't see Fantastic Four though, but I would love to see that. Okay, so I guess this is the update here, right? Spider-Man, Black Panther, Captain Marvel 2. Oh, we might see Kang in that as well. Guardians of the Galaxy, we might see Kang in that as well. Oh, Fantastic Four right here, 2023. Oh yeah, we in there. We in there. Yo, they're gonna have an I Am Groot movie. Hold on, let me save this picture real quick so I can show you guys what I'm talking about. MC 4, and then I'll end it here. Give my final wrap up. All right, 1 second. Image. MC. But yeah, I didn't want to be too long. I just want to give my thoughts real quick and let people know that this show is coming back. You know, I definitely missed doing it. But, you know, a brother had some things to do. You know what I mean? Alright, so let me set this up real quick. Alright, here we go. It's set up. Let me get out of studio mode. Alright, here we go. So this is it right here. Let me know if this is like the most up-to-date one here, because the dates is off, obviously. You know what I mean? COVID definitely messed a lot of this stuff up. But yeah, there's a lot of room here. Thor, Love and Thunder, they might play around with Jane here. You know what I mean? Where Jane might take the mantle. I know for sure they're gonna go down to the road of unworthy Thor for sure. That'll be dumb if they don't mess around with it. And with today's day and age, I think Jane, you know, as Thor would be good as well. Cause that was a good series too. I slept on that series where I was like, I didn't want to watch no Jane or read no Jane, man, being Thor. You know, it kind of hurt my soul a little bit, yo. But that storyline actually was really good. Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. If that's the official name of that. Let me actually look this up. If this picture is fake, somebody's getting punched. Let me see. The next one I do here, I'm definitely gonna have it more. Yeah, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. I'm definitely gonna have it more prepared and the screenshots and all that. Yeah, so Loki is gonna be in here. Ah, so they definitely gonna go big time for Doctor Strange, which is smart because Doctor Strange deal with a lot of the multiverse and all that stuff, and that's what they're alluding to a lot here, uh, with Loki. Okay, so when is this supposed to come out? Oh, March 2022. Okay, I'm with that. I'm with that. Yo, Kang is gonna be in Ant-Man and Wasp 3. Nah, I doubt that. I doubt that. Cause yeah, the premise of this show, this movie itself is dealing with the time stone, where he's researching the time stone, even more. But time is a concept that been it's been a heavy concept within the last previous stuff that Marvel has been doing. Endgame, Loki, kind of messed around with it a little bit in Vision and Scarlet Vision. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm excited for this one here. But yeah, overall, guys, I did enjoy the show Loki. I thoroughly enjoyed it. There's just certain things, like I said, with the whole council of reads. Selfie, I liked her. I like what they did with her because it makes sense within the continuity of the MCU. But I could have took a different origin as well, but it did make sense with it. Or they could have used a different variant of Loki to replace Selfie there and have Selfie set up like outside of it, because now Loki is technically alive. You know what I mean? Like he's technically alive. Like possibly the whole Endgame concept could be just a wrap. If they wanted to say like what happened in Endgame and all that stuff in Infinity War, that's totally out the loop now in this time branch. They could do that. Because like I said, you have somebody that was monitoring time itself, didn't know who Loki was at the end of the show. So right there, that's telling me that they have resetted a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? And if they're going to follow that time branch that Loki's in at the end of the show, what else is to be resetted? You know what I mean? But with that reset brings more problems. But that's good for the viewer, because now we get to see more enemies and this stuff like that, which is, you know what I mean? I'm with that. It's confirmed Kang is in Ant-Man 3. Look it up. What are y'all talking about, man? Let me see. If I Google this joint and he's not in, I'm looking at. Oh, but look at what they look at the title of Ant-Man, the Quantumanium Mania, the Quantumania. So they're dealing with the quantum zone. Like that's a different kind of universe in itself. You know what I mean? So yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. Yo, and you know what I did forget too? That Ant-Man, you know what I mean? They dealing with Scott Lang. You know what I mean? I'm like, when I read your comment, Ant-Man, I was just, thinking about, not Scott Lang. I'm thinking about, the original, Hank Pym. So yeah, this is cool. I'm with it. So yeah, they're gonna have the same guy being Kang the Conqueror. Oh, they kind of just spoiling this shit crazy, right? looking at the joint, they spoiling the joint crazy. They spoiling this joint crazy. But yeah, I like the setup though, man. True Kang will be in the next. I totally blind. I just looked it up. So I like the setup and what they're doing here. But the second Ant-Man I didn't like at all. Ant-Man and Wasp, I didn't like that at all. But part one I did love. I love that movie. Ant-Man and Wasp I didn't like, but this Ant-Man and Wasp, the Quantumania, they're already playing around with the time concept already. You know what I mean? When he's locked, when he goes sub atomic. And they calling that like a different universe. Why that's why he wasn't affected by the whole, well, they used the blip, the snap of Thanos' finger, because he was just in a different universe in itself. And that's another key thing that which I liked about Infinity War, because they took the concept of the comic of the Infinity Gauntlet only working in that universe, where Scott Lang went subatomic and he's in a different universe, so he was unaffected by what Thanos did. You know what I mean? So they kind of took that concept, and that is a cool concept now, because now you see that's why they should have took that Council of Reeds and they should have made it into the movie of Fantastic Four, because now you could have took that concept of different stones within different universes, and possibly you have a multi-universal, war, as there was alluding to in Loki, but having the Infinity Gauntlet as well there, you know what I mean, or a different version of the Infinity Gauntlet there, you know what I mean, with the other universes. But they kind of squashed that with they setup here with Loki, but we'll see. But this stream right here was just to let people know that from comics to movies, definitely going to do a comeback. I don't know how often I'm going to do them. I might do it like probably once a month, or probably once every other month or something like that, so I can give myself time to set up and actually have a presentable show to show the comic portion and also the movie portion. But if you guys missed out on this podcast before, definitely check out the last one so you know what I'm talking about when it comes to what I'm saying when it comes to the comic book portion. But yeah, I'm gonna end it here, guys, because I have stuff I got to do. But I definitely want to talk about this Loki. I was sitting on it for after I finished watching the show. I was sitting on it. I was like, should I even mention it, or should I even talk about it? And I was like, you know what? I got an hour or two. Let me go ahead and set it up. But yeah, guys, hopefully you guys enjoyed. I'm gonna catch you guys later. It's your boy Jay Bari, and I'm gone. Deuces.